Leonardo DiCaprio is a phenomenal actor. Also, his new girlfriend Eden Polani is 19. He is 48. And a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about that. By now, it's common knowledge that he never dates anyone who's older than 25. It's been a punchline for years.
Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him.
But 19? I'm gonna take a wild guess and assume what they find attractive in each other. She is young and beautiful, he is rich and experienced? Of course, I could be wrong. They could be soulmates. They could have a lot of similar interests, and they could have fascinating conversations. I mean, there are young people who are mature, but can a 19-year-old be as mature as a 48-year-old? That would actually be kind of sad. Anyway, from the moment the first paparazzi picture appeared, people were quick to make a few observations.
Everybody wants to be the controversially young girlfriend of a celebrity DILF. Until you remember, these kings, they're not even millennials. They're Gen X.
There are also 30 years between David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, just like there are between Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey from The Last of Us. But these men are the father figures and protectors of these young women, not their lovers. And by the way, my brother-in-law and my niece are the same age, which makes this whole thing even more weird to me personally. But age gaps are kinda tricky because there's not really a clear limit as long as both are adults. Florence Pugh and Zach Braff seem to get along perfectly fine despite him being 21 years older, and still they constantly got criticized until Florence has had enough.
I am 24 years old. I do not need you to tell me who I should and should not love, and I would never in my life ever tell anyone who they can and cannot love.
She is absolutely right. But to me, there is a difference to Leonardo and Eden's relationship, and that difference is the number one. Her age starts with the number one. I mean, of course, she is an adult, but in theory, she's also still a teenager, and that is what makes this whole thing, icky. But there is something that our society sees as even more extreme. If the woman is the older one.
Mild shock.
Young women with older men, that is something we've seen countless times, not only in real life, but also in movies and on TV. In Pretty Little Liars, Arya is in high school and Ezra is her teacher. But still, they fall in love, and in the end, they even get married. And of course, in 50 Shades of Grey, where Anastasia is a student and a virgin, and Christian is a rich businessman with preferences. All that was seen as romantic or sexy, and these young women were the ones who were seducing the man. But in American Pie, Stifler's mom sleeps with a classmate of her son. That was funny. And in The Graduate, Mrs. Robinson also wraps a student around her finger. That was scandalous. And again, the women were the one seducing the men. But these women were seen as overly sexualized or weird, while the men were congratulated because they scored. Almost like in real life. For example, the media defined Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde's relationship by their age gap, just like they did with Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Because it's different, it's interesting, it's a headline. But there's also an example in this constellation that's at least as tricky as Leonardo and Eden. Actor Aaron Taylor-Johnson was 18 when he and his now wife Sam Taylor-Johnson started dating. She was 42 and married with children. And she was also the director of one of his first movies, Nowhere Boy. So yeah, tricky. But if two adults fall in love and they're both equals, as in there's no extreme power imbalance, then yes, age truly can be just a number. Like with Jay and Gloria from Modern Family, just to mention a good TV example. They didn't only love each other, but also learned from each other. And as for some real-life examples, Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas, or Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor. Some of them also had to face criticism, but they proved the world wrong. And in a world where boomers hate millennials, millennials don't get Gen Zs, Gen Z think everyone's old and no one even cares about Gen X's, I think it's kind of nice if different generations like each other, if all of them are adults and no one's 19.